Hey everybody, my name is Jake and this is my channel Fishlist, and you clicked on this video because you are just as impatient as I am. You have seen some amazing tanks on YouTube or Instagram or wherever you've seen them, and they're full of big beautiful cichlids, and you want one just like it. Except you don't want to pay $150 a fish, and you also don't want to wait 5 years for the fish to grow out in hopes that you won't kill it in the meantime. So you've come to find some big cichlids that get big quick. And so I've got 10 cichlids to share with you that I have owned and that grow very quickly. And I'm going to talk you through those today. So let's go check it out. All right, so we're going to focus on this aquarium first. This is my 125-gallon tank. It is got a lot of different fish in it right now. This is probably not its final stocking that I'm planning on doing. I just have some fish that are basically growing out, and I'm planning on moving them around as they do. But this tank has quite a few of the fish that we're going to talk about today, so we're going to be looking into them. So the first one that I want to mention, very common fish, but also an incredible fish, is the angelfish. Angelfish are pretty decently fast growers. These ones specifically are probably the slowest growing that I've ever gotten, but they're not too bad in size, but they are a wild type. They're actually a breed of a wild type fish that I ordered, which I just love the wild type colors. So angelfish is probably the first one, I guess alphabetically, that we'll start with. But they are pretty easy to care for, pretty easy to find. They come in so many different colors, and you can put them in a few different size aquariums. Probably the smallest I would go would be maybe a 55, unless you're keeping a single solitary angelfish, in which case you might be able to get away with something smaller. But they generally start pretty small. Now for reference, and I'm looking for him right now in this aquarium, and I don't really see him, but there is a runt in here. I feel like sometimes with fish, there he is right there, you get runts, you just get a fish that just doesn't grow. And this guy is him. I don't know why he doesn't grow. I can't tell you all the science behind that if I can get the camera to focus on him, but he's a little bit of a runt. So I got these guys about, I want to say about 8 months ago, and he's only a little bit bigger than they all were. I mean, he actually has grown a little bit, so that kind of gives you a reference. You can see him side by side. That's where I got him about 8 months ago, and this is where he is now. Now these guys are not fully grown yet, but they will get much bigger. So that's the first one, is angelfish. The second one that I'm going to talk about, just because I see him and he's kind of fired up here, and also let's just keep going kind of alphabetical. I think it's alphabetical, I gotta think about it. This is the Cichlids bacordi right here. And I've only had him for about 3 months. To give you a frame of reference on him, he was probably about the size of, I mean, not the same shape, but one of these Juraparis. He came in about that size. And, oh, there he is. Sorry, I lost him for a second. And look how big he is now. There you go, side by side. I mean, he has just exploded. Now, this isn't the most common cichlid that you'll find. I'm gonna throw a picture up here that I am borrowing from Dave's Rare Fish, which is an incredible place to buy fish if you're interested, to show you just how they look when they're full grown. But they are, I have only had him for a little while, so this isn't a care guide video. I haven't had him long enough to tell you exactly what he's like, but they're supposed to be a little more peaceful, kind of a more of a herbivore cichlid, but they get very large and they are very pretty. But so far since I've gotten him, and he looks really pretty right now, he's grown a ton. I am just really impressed with the growth rate on this guy. So Cichlids bacordi. Plus you can say that at the grocery store and people will think you sound smart. So that is my second one. The third one, if I can find him, oh, he's hiding right here. I'm not doing this alphabetically on purpose, and I hope he comes out for this video, is a chocolate cichlid, which is another kind of common cichlid, pretty easy to find. You can find him pretty much anywhere, except for in my aquarium, because he wants to hide when I want to talk about him. But it is a very large cichlid and a very beautiful cichlid. He has had a very similar growth rate to the Cichlids bacordi. He has just exploded in growth. I promise he has. You can't really see him in there. I'll try to throw a picture of him up on the screen so you can see what he looks like when he's not hiding. I have noticed, unfortunately, in this tank that him and the bacordi, they don't always get along. Sometimes they chase each other, and he seems to be the subdominant one. Another reason why this isn't the final stocking for this tank. A lot of these fish are just kind of small, so I'm letting them grow out for a while. But very beautiful cichlid. They change colors a lot, get very big, need a large aquarium, and they grow really fast. So his growth rate has been really impressive to me. And then the last one, which this is the one that I'm probably most impressed with. Now I'm gonna start with the one that's not him to give you a frame of reference. This right here is a Geophagus spheni, if I can get it to focus on him. And the Geophagus, any Geophagus species, you'll never find one on this list. They grow pretty small. But I got these fish at the exact same time as I got the Walroo. And I kid you not, they were the exact same size. The spheni have grown maybe a little bit, but not very much. But look at these monsters. These Walroo are huge. They have just exploded. I swear every day I come down here, they're just like a different fish. Not to mention when they come in, they're covered with spots. And as they grow older, they get that kind of dark pattern, that dark stripe, or dark spot in the middle, not stripe, but dark spot in the middle of them. But their growth rate has just absolutely exploded. They're getting huge. I have 3 of them in this aquarium. I like how he's like upside down. I don't know if you saw that. And they seem to be very peaceful. I don't really have any issues with them. The other one's kind of back in that corner. Oh, look, Chocolate came out. I'm gonna call him Hershey. That's his name. I know it's not the most original name for a chocolate cichlid, but he's gonna be Hershey. He does look like he's gotten a little beat up. But anyway, Walroo cichlids is number 4 on the list. So let's go on to a different aquarium and check out number 5. Okay, so confession time. I said there would be no Geophagus on this list, but actually I forgot. There definitely is a Geophagus on this list, although it's a little bit different of a species compared to most Geophagus, and that is the Geophagus brasiliensis. And it is, I've got mine right here. And when I got him, now he's about 3 years old, I want to say. Well, I got him 3 years ago, so he's probably about 4 years old at this point. But these guys get very large, and when I got him, he was probably about the size of some of these orange hillfin trouts that keep swimming in front. He wasn't too big, and he just exploded in growth so fast. It probably took him less than a year to get to this size, and he's kind of stayed right there. His name is Snape, although there's a video I have care videos on a lot of these fish, so I'll put the playlist at the end of this video if you want to check any of those out. But he is actually a she, but we named him Snape before we knew it was a girl, but probably a female. You know, actually, the more he grows, there is a little bit of a nuchal hump there, but I'm not really sure what sex it is. But very big, very beautiful fish. Kind of wish he would show off for you right now, but definitely a fast grower. The next one on this list is the one hanging out with him. Now, this is a funny little relationship. This Nicaraguan cichlid really wants to impress Snape. The Nicaraguan cichlid is obsessed with Snape and I think wants to make some babies. I'm not sure how that would happen. Of course, he's hiding right there because he's always digging out that pit. So I have a few more Nicaraguans in here, so let me go find one of those. So Nicaraguan cichlids, I got them and they were pretty small, but they exploded pretty quickly. Just for reference, I have a small one over here, a Nicaraguan cichlid. There he is. She, actually, I'm sorry. And I got them when they were a little bit smaller than that, and it probably only took them about 6 months to grow. Now, I have bred them before, and it took them a little while to get from a fry to a decent size, but once they hit a certain size, if you're feeding them good, they will grow very quickly. So Nicaraguan cichlid is my next fish on the list, and I believe that is it for this tank, which is getting ready to undergo some changes. And get Snape coming out here. I'm planning on switching this tank up a little bit here soon, and there's a fish that wasn't here up until a few weeks ago that I moved out just because the fish in this tank are getting big and aggressive, and I just didn't like the aggression level. So let's go on to the next tank and I'll show you another one. All right, so the next fish up on the list was one that I wanted for a very long time. It was on my wish list for quite a while, except I was a little nervous about it because I heard they were jerks. And so one day I finally decided to head out and get some jewel cichlids. So these guys, yeah, they're gonna be quick and hiding a little bit and then coming out and zipping around. These guys are incredibly colorful cichlids. Now, I have not done a care guide on these videos because these fish, because I've only had them for a little bit of time. So I'm not really at the point where I'm comfortable telling you everything about them. I do know there are different types of jewel cichlids, lots of different kinds, and possibly that the aggression level is different. I'm still pretty new to them. But I can say, because I've had them for a little while, that they grow pretty darn quick. I have only had them for about 3 months now, and I got them and they were probably about half the size that they are now. If I could get them to not hide in the background, that would be nice. You can see them in the reflection there. But they are an incredibly beautiful cichlid and they grow pretty darn quick. So let's look at the next one, which is in a different tank. So this next one, this guy used to be in that last 125, but I've got him holding in here for right now, at least until I swap all of them to a bigger tank. He's on a lighter substrate, which doesn't make him the most colorful fish right now, but he looks pretty good. He was a little pale in the other tank on a dark substrate, which made me a little nervous. I think he was getting picked on a little bit. So I moved him into this 60 breeder just for a little while, but he is a very beautiful fish. This is a gold som, a green terror, and a very beautiful fish that I've had for probably about 2.5 years now, I want to say. He's a little shy lately just because I think he was kind of lower on the pecking order in that other aquarium. Seems to be livening up now, but I dropped some food in there to help us to be able to get him out to see him. Another one that I have a care guide video on, but very beautiful fish, grew pretty darn quick. I had him, he was probably only about 2 inches or so, and he got to this size within about a year and a half, but he was definitely a very beautiful fish from the start and stayed beautiful for me throughout the entire process. So green terror, variation is gold som. The difference is that they have a little bit of, you see the orange on the tips of their fins, but not the most colorful in his current state right now, but definitely a very beautiful fish. Darker substrate works a lot better, so very beautiful fish. And just as a bonus, I haven't had him very long, but the Vieja Argentea is in here with him and looking absolutely stunning. So take a look at that. But let's go on to the next fish. What is the next fish? I don't remember what the next fish is. Maybe that was, no, there is one more fish. I got it. All right, so I'm going to surprise you a little bit here and do a Tanganyikan cichlids. Now, if there's one thing Tanganyikans are known for, it's for growing so slow. So many Tanganyikans just take forever to grow out. I have waited 3 years at times for some Tanganyikans to grow out. For instance, one that I'm not talking about today, see that little baby Julidochromis down there? Now he's in a big tank with lots of other fish, so he may not get all of the food that he needs, but I do see him eat, so I know he eats. That thing is like a year old at least, maybe a year and a half, and it was bred in the aquarium in a community tank, which is pretty cool. So that's just for example. Most Tanganyikans are very slow growers. However, there is one that is, well, it's not the biggest cichlid, but it's not the slowest grower either. And you can have a tank full of them probably within a year, definitely. And I'm talking like you could start with a breeding group and grow a bunch of them out. And actually most of mine I didn't buy. I think I started with about 5 or 6, and now I probably have about 20 because that's the way they work. And I'm trying to see if they have any babies right now, but just to give you, end your suspense, it is the Neolamprologus pulcher. No, focus over there. Neolamprologus pulcher or daffodil cichlid. And it is a very stunning cichlid. You can see it has some subtle coloration with the yellow and a little bit of blue on the tips of the fins, these long trailing fins. Absolutely stunning cichlid. It is very similar to the Neolamprologus burchardi. There's also the Helianthus and some others that I have not kept that have a lot of similarities where they will grow and breed pretty prolifically. I just haven't personally kept them, so I can't say for sure. But these guys, for sure, you put them in a tank, you add water, they will breed like crazy. In fact, there's about 3 groups of fry in this tank. They will not survive. That is by design because I don't want them to take over this tank. Now, I just turned the lights on a little bit ago, so they're probably hiding, the babies are, because they know they'll get eaten. But back in that corner over there, there's a little group that I know of. Right in this rock, there's a bunch of babies that sometimes come out. And if you'll notice, So the small ones, like this is a female in front, and oh no, that's that's female. And the one that just ducked down behind the rock, the big ones, are the males. But they will breed, and not only that, but they'll grow really fast. Like they'll come from tiny little fry, and you'll see them to be about this size within a few months. It doesn't take very long at all, and suddenly they're ready to go. And then they're breeding. They also breed very small. So if you want a Tanganyika cichlid that is beautiful and stunning, and also one that's really easy to breed, then I would highly recommend the Neolamprologus pulcher or daffodil or burchardite. I've heard people say that they're not different species. I'm not really sure, I'm not an expert on that, but they're very similar, just slightly different colorations. And for that reason, I kind of prefer the daffodil. But I do have one more that I will talk to you about, and that is one that I actually don't own, but it is probably the most common one that you'll hear about that grows very quickly, and that is the Oscar. And I have toyed with the idea of getting one for quite a while. I have some decent sized tanks, so I might be able to do it eventually in the future, but I want to get some stuff moved around first. But I do have some footage of some from a store that I went to yesterday. But the Oscar is a beautiful cichlid that gets very, very large and does it very, very quickly. It will get to almost over a foot within a year, is my understanding. So very big, very fast growing fish. The problem with that though is you got to be careful, is because it grows so fast that if you put it with fish that do not grow quick, they will become a snack. So Oscar cichlid is the last one that I wanted to mention, that if you're interested in a fast growing fish, then that's what you need to get. I do have something else important that I think you should know, which is that all of this is of course dependent on how well you take care of these fish. Tank size matters a lot. If you have them in a tiny tank, they're not going to grow to their full potential. If you're not feeding them enough or frequently enough, that's another thing that can cause them to have their growth a little bit stunted. The next thing that can affect their growth rate is temperature. If you have them in a colder tank than they're used to, they may not grow as quickly. Usually warmer waters can help grow fish. That's what I do with things like my discus, for instance, are a little bit higher than you can keep them in a lower temperature when they get older because you're not growing them, but when they're younger, it helps to grow them out and have them be in a little bit warmer water. So tank temperature can make a difference in that too. And then the other thing I'll mention is stress. Stress is key for everything. If they're in a high stress tank where they're constantly getting bullied, for instance, the tiny Julidochromis that I mentioned, I think it just probably is in a very stressful situation where it's a tiny fish in a big tank with a lot of bigger, more carnivorous fish. So if you have them in a tank where they are stressed out a lot, then they're not going to grow to their full potential. Also, the stunting that I mentioned, or the runts, I have noticed that with every group that I get, I'll frequently get one that just doesn't grow. And I don't really have the science on that, of why that happens that way or what to do about it. I have read things about hormones, that there's hormones in the water that the other fish release. For instance, the angelfish may do that, so more water changes might help with that. But ultimately, I've just found that in every group that I get, I'm gonna have a runt, and that's just kind of normal. So I'm okay with that. I just kind of buy a few extra and expect one to be a runt. And sometimes they don't make it. And that's kind of sad, but it is what it is. So if you want some big, beautiful cichlid, those are some tips and advice that you can use to get them to be big and get to their full potential, as well as 10 fish that you can potentially look into yourself. If you want to get some fish that grow very quickly, just be sure to get a tank size that matches them and give them the home that they deserve. If you have any other fish to add to this list that you've kept that have grown very big very quickly, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Fish list out.